going live now, like 3. So I'll signal to you when time is going fast. So I need to also be looking at me.
Hello, viewers. Good morning and welcome to our very first edition of Women in Focus, a program of the Aderonke Foundation, highlighting issues and priorities of women. And when we talk about women, we're talking about family. Women are the ways that make the families, to go around. But incidentally, our very first edition, we're focusing on children. Well, children are also, part and parcel of women, because women are the chief caregivers when it comes to the home. They bear the burden of caregiving 70% of the time. So it's only proper that we talk about children and get to know how children are coping in Nigeria as it is now, in view of the celebration of Children's Day next week. So my name is Aderonke, and I want to say thank you once again for joining us. To talk about children, I don't think we have any other person in this Lagos to talk about children, even in Nigeria, other than the coordinator of the Lagos chapter of the Child Protection Network itself, and the executive director of the Bimbo Odukoya Foundation, our very own Mrs. AderonkeMary.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for coming.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you for making our very, first edition. And I'm happy it's going to start off because, it's important. When we talk about sustainability, it's important we talk about children, their welfare, their safety, their rights, and their empowerment. Because without doing that, we may be putting at risk the future, and we don't want to do that. Yeah. So once again, thank you for joining us. Of course, we are live, we are live streaming this, and it means that you can make comments, you can share this to people in your network to come and join the conversation. We can hear your voice through your comments, and hopefully one day we'll also get you to be part of us in the studio. So yes, I already told the viewers, who you are, but I think there's more to you than just what I've said. So in your own words, you want to let our viewers meet you.
Okay, so thank you so much for bringing me here today. I'm happy to be one of the first person to be on this edition. Thank you so much for that. Okay, so as she has rightly introduced, I'm OYELAKIN. I work presently with Bimbo Odukoya Foundation, and I joined years back as a volunteer in 2007. And I joined because I was passionate about girls and women that they are focused on, and because they work closely with sexual gender-based violence. And being a survivor myself, I realized that it's also good to give what you have been through and how you overcome the pain and healing, and let them understand, because they also just coming up. They just got introduced to whatever form of abuse, and of course it's telling on them. So I felt it's a good
It's a lesson that you have shared, although subtle, because sometimes you see young people, they complain, oh, they're asking me for experience, and I just graduated from school. Where do they want me to get?
So volunteering is key.
Volunteer, you heard that. Volunteering is key.
Very key.
Yeah, thank you for just dropping that off. Volunteering is key. wherever you are, at secondary school,
Yes.
at the university, volunteer. Wherever you are, in your community, as a young person, learn to give back to the society. Just volunteer. Volunteer your time if you don't have the money, you don't have the resources, if you don't have the skill. At least you can learn.
If you
while
learn.
you're
And
doing it.
I forgot to have that. Why I chose to volunteer with the Bimbo Odukoya Foundation. I remember far back as when I was 13 years old, I was already into this humanitarian work. And how? Because I was interested in helping people. So I joined the YMCA. Imagine the YMCA at a young age. And I joined the teenagers wing. We call it High Y then. And we're going into nooks and crannies of Lagos State, helping humanity. It's all about humanitarian services and all. So I began to see that there is need to always help people. But I didn't know how, because you mentioned that you might not know you might not have all the skills or know all. But when you join, you learn on the job. So that has actually helped me to become who I am today, and I'm still becoming, because I learned at a young age. I was exposed to helping people at a young age, and I also got that passion, and I'm still driving towards seeing how I can help other children out there. And I'm happy that in Lagos, for instance, we are also on the forefront with other NGOs working to protect the rights of children in Lagos State.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for the work that you do. And that's what you need to learn. You just volunteer, learn in the course of volunteering, get a mentor in the course of your volunteering. There will be somebody there who is ready to mentor you, who is ready to bring you up, as a child, and it's going to be of benefit to you even as you grow in your career. You can start, from your church, from your mosque, from wherever, just in your community. You can always volunteer and learn. Yeah, thank you for that. I also would want to say, what has been your experience, working in this sector? What are those things that you discover that you think it's worth sharing? We just want you to put it out there, because there are children, that are exposed to different, vices. They are unprotected. And I know you have worked in the area of protecting children. What lessons do we take away from your experience working in that sector?
From my experience working with children, these few years of mine on earth, you're my big mama, I've been able to see several cases, traumatic cases, as in cases that actually disheartening, that could make you even go like, wow, how can a child be exposed to this kind of violence, abuse, exploitation, neglect, call it anything, any form of abuse that is perpetrated towards a child. It is totally unacceptable. I've seen several, but let me say this, that these children, we have laws guiding them, we have laws protecting them. But even these laws, some of them don't even know. For all this, my journey so far, like I said, that is a work in progress. We've been able to let children know that they have rights. Because if they do not know, how would they even be able to speak up, be able to understand that, see, there are some people there that is ready to protect you. So information is key, and that is what we've been able to achieve. We are still, like I said, it's a work in progress, because until every child in Lagos State is reached and across the nation, that every child in Nigeria will know that I have a right to, this is my passport of rights, I know it, and nobody, including my parents, can infringe upon my rights or violate the rights, because they are also fundamental human rights, just like every other human being. So for me, these children has been the greatest joy to me, and I love doing it. Letting the children know that this is all the governments, all of us, the CSOs, we are all working to ensure that they are protected. That's on the one side, because that's for prevention, for them to know information, educating them. That's on one side. Then in this same journey, I've seen cases of children that maybe they never got the information, or an adult in their life, or even their peers took advantage of them and they violated their rights. These children are vulnerable because they are in the vulnerable class. just like women. We put them elderly and persons with disability, they're in the vulnerable class. These children cannot, the trust is for an adult in their life. Whether parents, guardian, teachers, wherever children are found, they are supposed to be close marked, as in watched, carefully, protected, safeguarded, just like mother hen. If they're in church, mosque, anywhere they are found, playground, anywhere, they should be protected. So some children fall into those hands of bad people and their rights are violated. There's this one case I can't forget about a 10-year-old girl that was actually defiled. She got pregnant. And this was far back as 2008 or 9. I can't even remember. I think 2010. And we were involved in this case. She actually got pregnant. She gave birth.
10-year-old.
Yes. In Lagos State. And anytime I see her, she's so tiny, so small. And I'm like, so a baby is really growing inside this small. And I was like, whoever could put a child into this condition, what law do we have? Then was it life imprisonment themselves? No, I don't think they've actually made that. Thank God to the ministries and all of that. Yes. It's now life imprisonment. But imagine the man that actually got her pregnant, ran away. We had to work with the family because the family, of course, how would they even comprehend that their 10-year-old girl is pregnant? So it shows that holistically, we all have work to do. Either parents, either the community, either the governments, every one of us, we have a collective responsibility to protect children. This person that was seeing this young girl, somebody would have seen them. The person kept quiet. And then we keep saying this slogan, if you see something, you can't keep quiet. Because this child goes on errand and somebody calls her in. And of course, 1 or 2 persons might have seen this girl, but they kept quiet. So in this area, as we are in Lagos State, we have said it, and we are still saying it. If you know or you smell, not that you are even so sure, you can say that it looks like this person might be like, say, you never even sure, but you feel say this person might be a pedophile. How? You keep seeing children. He keeps sending girls or even boys, because now they're not doing homosexuality, they're practicing it. So anytime you see anything like that, you suspect, let me use that word, suspect. Please, we have lines to call. Ensure that you reach out immediately. Your information will be protected. You are a mandated reporter, as we have in our law. We have different policies safeguarding children. Once you see anything that's suspect, like, please speak. And that aspect now talk about the prevention and respond. The part I mentioned is respond. If you have to respond to those children that have been abused, then we have to know where they can go to. It's important to know the services that are available in the states for children that have experienced any form, or whether neglect, abuse, violence, exploitation, whatever you can call it. Anytime a child goes through any of, there are places, appropriate authorities, CSOs that are ready and fighting for the cause of children in the states. So if you do not have information, you can't even report. You don't even know what to do. But at least, thank God, we're not like America and the rest. We are now have our own 112. Like we call die 911. Now you cannot die 112. At least if you don't know any number to call, please remember to call 112. That saves a child. So it's very important to know that you prevent. Talk about it. Let people know. Let children know. Let parents know. Let guardians know. Let everybody know that this is what the rights of children says. Then let everybody also know that when it happens, when the rights have been violated, we also need to respond. So it's doing 2 things at the same time. You are preventing and also responding. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I know you could just go on and on. Before I go on to the next question, I just want to tell participants, out there, if you have questions, to ask, please just drop your questions, in our chat box, so that we can get a response, on your question. Now I want to ask you, in all of this, what is the highest or the likely area of abuse for the children, or the area that you have seen children most frequently, experience abuse?
You'll be so shocked. The kind of abuse we've seen that is the highest is neglect and emotional abuse. When we go to schools, I'm always overwhelmed when children tell us exactly how they feel. We're actually undergoing a particular type of intervention for children now. We call it art-based therapy. We let children express themselves in arts, drawings. Recently, we started that, I think, last year. And we're going to have one soon after the 27th, that's on the 28th. And we want children to express how they feel. Imagine a child telling us that he wants to take a gun and kill his dad. How he or she has seen the type of abuse, whether verbally, always perpetrating abuse on them. So the most common, even the highest form of abuse that we have seen is that of the neglect, abandonment of children. Every day we get cases of children wandering. I'm sure the Ministry of Youth and Social Development is overwhelmed because I keep calling them, Alakara, JWC, please help us. So they are bringing this child, they are bringing that child. They're just left on their own. Just yesterday, another child, 10-year-old, on the street on his own. So we keep hearing cases of neglect, children all by themselves, without any supervision or without any adults, and emotional abuse. And the other one is physical. Every time children undergo physical abuse by inflicting pain or injury that can be seen on children. What that happened, child labor, they brought a child from Aba, working in Lagos State with another guardian. And she just said the child offended and she took what they call it, kerosene, bait the girl with kerosene. This is life. This case is ongoing now. It's a general hospital in Bagada. The ministries have been informed. Use kerosene to bait the girl and lit fire on her. Why? She's a domestic staff. Why should you even get a child as a domestic worker? So it's the physical abuse is high. Then the sexual abuse is on the increase. And not every child is speaking up. And that's why we are saying today, the effects of sexual abuse, it's totally, we can't exhaust it here because it goes on. It goes on even till adulthood. It is not well dealt with. I'm a survivor. I've been through any form of abuse you want to talk about. But I'm standing because I was able to get help. And getting help is when you are willing and you have a support system.
Support system, yeah.
If I'm willing to get help and I have a support system, if I look back and say, well, I can't even see any scars, I can't see any, because they're all gone. With the help of God, they are all gone. With the help of people around me, they're all gone. So following through the process is very key. Having a support system with a spiritual or physical, moral support, psychological, you can't say that is essentially important by a professional. So, like I've mentioned, those type of abuse, they're on the increase. Now we are getting more of exploitation, child labor, increase in Lagos because they keep packing them into Lagos. And so we need to deal with some of these cases that are actually increasing on a daily basis so that we can have our children free from all forms of abuse. Thank you.
Thank you so much. She could just go on and on. When you are on the field, this is we are sharing. She's sharing our field, experience here, so you can, expect, her, to just go on and on. In the course of speaking, you talked about children, wandering.
Yeah.
And I know you will have interacted with these, children. What did you identify as the reasons? Yes, you talked about neglect, but then there must be something specifically that will make a child
other factors.
Yes,
actually,
yes. And how yes, talk about the AderonkeMary, and I know you're talking about the police, the Ministry of Youth. So how do they manage such cases?
Okay, that was Lagos is working, but we can do better. Thank you, Mr. Governor, but we can actually do better. All the MDAs working with children actually trying their best, but we're overwhelmed because the number of children in Lagos State, and number of children trooping into Lagos State, it's actually alarming.
Are they unaccompanied children coming out of Lagos, or children who live with somebody that
they're on the streets?
Okay, they came, outside of Lagos.
They live in Lagos. No, we have children in different categories. Some children migrate from other states, neighboring states, and they move into Lagos. for greener pastures.
Yeah.
Their
Children.
friends, of course now, their friends say, let's go. Things are happening.
Children.
Yes, now. Their friends tell them to come. I interview with these children across board. They tell their friends, let's go into Lagos. You really want to be free from the village life. Things they happen for a year. Come. This one is practical. This happened last week.
Do you return them or what do you do?
This one happened last week now. Two children were found in Lagos State, a 10-year-old and 11-year-old child, boys. And of course, we work with different agencies.
Yeah.
LMSA contacted me and said, they found this child also. So I said, okay, these children sent their information to me. They said they were saying that they live around Apapa side and somewhere, but they don't want to go home. I said, okay, they will go and trace their family. Why I contact the Ministry of Youth, CPU department, to see how they can find a temporary place for the children if there is need. Then I also called the JWC Alakara because the children cannot sleep outside. They have to be taken and protected into a safe place, which is the Juvenile Welfare Center at Alakara. Pending the Ministry of Youth will place them in a shelter. So why did people on the field, the LNSA, went to do their tracing? They got to the family house. They met grandma on a sick bed. Grandpa is blind.
What about the parents?
So what are we talking about? The children will keep going, but they said they just brought them a day before. Somebody found and brought them a day before, and they are back on the streets the following day. And they brought them again. So we said, okay, temporarily, please, they can't remain in that house till we find out how we can sort the family issue and trace other relatives, other paternal or maternal relations that can take care of them. Let them be placed in the temporary shelter so that they will not continually be on the street. So they contacted NGOs that have a shelter that work with street children in street conditions. That was contacted. While they were coming to Alakara, Ministry of Youth has called Alakara, called the NGO. They've connected. So they were waiting for those children at Alakara. So if we don't all work like that, it's always difficult. So like I said, there are children in different conditions.
So are they going to keep like this specific one?
They're in temporary shelter for safety. Yes, for
how long?
care and protection.
For how long?
Till we'll be able to sort out their other relatives.
Okay, they can be there as long as
because it's not even good for such a child at that age, 10 and 11, to be on the streets.
Of course, I agree.
You'll be exposed to different
I agree.
Before you know, they'll grow up to become the ones stopping us everywhere.
Yeah, but in this particular case now, would you attribute that to poverty? Maybe the children don't have food to eat or what? Because now the grandfather is blind, the grandmother is sick on the sick.
Someone taking care of them.
So maybe they are not even feeding.
So all of these factors, because if at all we want to even help the family, we have to work with that family to find out who else can take them. Even the person that wants to take them, of course, social inquiry, the social workers will ensure that they find out the family taking those children or the one taking one at a time. What can you do? How many members do you have in your family? What's your source of income? They will do their social inquiry and to find out if you can actually care for this child.
I also want to ask you a question. I know the civil society organizations, when we talk about civil society, it's broad.
Yeah.
It involves trade union. It involves the media organizations. It also involves faith-based organizations. But most of the time, the NGOs, that we see that are involved, that are frontline, of some of this recovery. How has faith-based organization functioned in the scheme of things when it comes to child protection and child rights?
We work with them across board. That's why it's very key for everybody to know their own stage or where they, you refer. For the faith-based organizations, we have the Muslim community. Those ones are actually, they're NGOs too, but they are faith-based organizations. They do all this work in their own way, using their own faith to promote. Because if all of us are saying we want to protect children, and our faith, our faith or our religion differs, and we are all saying different things, we're not focused on the right thing. But if we're all saying the same thing as a Christian and as a Muslim, I'm from Bimbo Odukoya Foundation, faith organization, though an NGO, and our work is for women and girls. But anything we are doing, we are also including to put in those children the right values, which we have in our own scripture.
No, I want to, yes, we
also find out we have to support the cause of protecting children. So every one of us, whether the Muslim or the Christian, we are all coming together as one voice to ensure that every resources we are bringing together is to protect the children.
Yes, I understand that perfectly. I'm just looking at maybe like a mosque, like a church, like the groups within the church. Because sometimes churches, they tell you they have children's department.
Yes, most churches do that. Even the Muslims, they also have that.
Children's department, they have counselors. Are these counselors, are they like,
professionals?
Are they professional? How have they,
integrated?
Yes.
Okay, yes, because
I'm not talking about NGOs created by maybe.
You are very right. We need to move from using the normal way of doing things that, we use our Christian faith to say we can pray it out. Fine, it's good to pray. But when it comes to being professional, we just had a family life conference, and one of the things we talked about is this one you just mentioned, that let professionals handle what professional needs to handle. Because if you're going to be working with a child, you need to have the skills, the right skills. You can't say you are a counselor when you have not been trained. You can't go to anybody and say you want to treat the person if you're not a doctor.
You're not a doctor, you're not a nurse.
So you must get knowledge. You must get trained. So that's why we've been going to churches. I can't count how many churches I've been to or mosque. And we keep telling them, when there are cases, don't say we are going to settle it in the church way. No. If there are cases that need urgent attention of a professional, a social worker, a counselor, a therapist, please be prepared. You can pray while they are doing their homework. That is perfect. So that we've been able to achieve and been able to say, and we're still encouraging more faith-based organizations to let this happen. Let them follow through the process. Don't say we have settled it, and before you know it, some domestic violence, they end up killing themselves.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to talk again. That church has called them like 3-4 times.
Let it cut it now. You said we are still encouraging.
Yes, so because some are still, of course, it's still very low. Number of churches that has professional social workers, professional counselors or psychologists is just a few. That are
like you have mentioned, if they are willing, to be trained, are there opportunities,
we do that. There are several opportunities. There are other coaches, as practitioners that are ready to train. Even though some of them are not free, most are not free, but there's some of us are still ready to because some will go to for these courses before they even think about marriage to develop themselves, which is very good. But some go through because they're about to take the step into getting married. They also do this. But we have seen that a couple or any couple that actually goes through these classes, and also we just finished a conference. Any couple, we can tell you thousands of people that have gone through this particular system we're talking about, and they are doing well. How? Because the foundation is well laid. And if your foundation is well laid,
If, of course, there will be issues of life that will come, but the foundation would not be moved. It still stands strong. It can be shaken, but you know that this foundation was, but you go back to it. You can always go back and check this, what is going on, what have we missed, and you quickly work it out because you started well and you have a good foundation. So if you have not well laid, then likelihood that when issues of life comes, when other things that internally or external control or whatever comes around your way, as a couple or individual, you'll be shaken and you can't stand.
Yeah.
So it's very key for us.
Build your house on the rock.
That's just it. But for children, even if you are building your house on the rock, you have to plan for those children as well. And that's where issues we have now. Imagine a family having 8 children, 7 children before you distribute them. That's the cases we are having. Because if you don't have more than enough, you can't bring them to another person now.
I want to ask you quickly, why do you think in these days that some people are still having 8 children? Because you will have, since you are handling the cases, because I want you to talk about that, about the number of children, that women, as what do you think are the factors responsible?
Most of the cases we've seen